Hello everyone and welcome to the latest Tempo Strategy Wild Meta Snapshot breakdown for the Wailing Caverns mini set. This report comes hot on the heels of one of the biggest developments we have ever seen in Hearthstone's history. Stealer of Souls is banned in Wild, and it's the first card ever to be banned in a constructed format. This unprecedented ban comes after a couple of weeks of Stealer combo Warlock dominance in Wild, during which the deck evolved into one of the most community polarizing combo decks we have ever seen. The meta shifted aggressively to fight back against the Warlock menace, leading to the widespread adoption of Secret Mage as a popular counter, as well as a surge in aggro strategies like Odd Rogue and Odd Demon Hunter across the board. Now that Stealer is banned, the boogeyman that the format was poised to beat has disappeared, but the aggressive trends have not, and that's not the only big story to come out of the Wailing Caverns. We're also seeing the return of Shaman thanks to the new card Primal Dungeoneer, and while decks like Galakron Shaman aren't in a dominant spot just yet, they are shaping up to be a real force in Wild. We've got our fingers on the pulse of a shifting meta, so come join us as we break down the format's latest developments. We're going to start with our top tier picks, and while there's no Stealer Warlock in sight, Warlock isn't about to leave the spotlight anytime soon, as Darkglare Warlock continues to be our pick for the best deck in the format. This might seem counterintuitive in an aggressive meta where your hero's health is constantly under attack, but Darkglare can use that to its advantage to fuel massive counter swings with Molten Giant and Animated Broomstick. With plenty of room for tech options against both aggro and control, Darkglare remains one of the most powerful and flexible decks in the format, and we don't expect to see that change anytime soon. There's one deck whose standing has certainly changed, and that is Reno Priest, which is certainly happy to see fewer Stealer Warlocks running around. Reno Priest is a traditionally solid option against aggro with its copious amounts of removal and healing, and as slower decks begin to return to regular play, Reno Priest is bound to be strong again thanks to its inevitable game-ending combo. There are only two factors in the new meta that may hold Priest at bay: other big combo decks like Mizaki Mage and Malagos Druid, and the ever-present specter of Darkglare Warlock. Odd Paladin rounds out our tier 1 spotlight, and while Handbuff Paladin has fallen out of favor after the nerfs, Odd Paladin clearly isn't going anywhere. It remains one of the most consistent aggro decks in the game with its rapid and relentless board development, and many of Odd Paladin's natural counters are still missing, while many of its better matchups are still quite popular in the post-Stealer meta. Moving on to tier 2, we see a wide spread of aggro decks that are almost always powerful in Wild, but while many of these decks were seeing a boom in the Stealer meta, some of them are on shaky ground after the ban. The biggest loser of the Stealer ban is actually Secret Mage, which was enjoying a truly dominant position as the format's top watchdog against Warlock degeneracy. Now that Stealer is gone, Secret Mage has to contend with all the aggressive Paladins, Rogues, Warriors, and Demon Hunters left over from the Stealer meta shift, and it's not a pretty picture for this classic Mage deck. That being said, Secret Mage is still overwhelmingly popular, and it continues to be a strong option just on the basis of power level alone. Pirate Warrior is another holdout of the hyper aggro meta that's in relatively solid footing after the Stealer ban. Since it has some of the fastest board development in the game alongside an assortment of powerful weapons, Pirate Warrior takes control of the board and threatens the opponent's face faster than almost any other deck in Wild. As long as the format is obsessed with board-based aggro, Pirate Warrior will always have a seat at the table. The Stealer meta also reintroduced other fast aggro decks back into rotation, including the return of one of Wild's most iconic decks. Odd Rogue is back, and it's shaking off the rust from the Nitro Boost Poison nerf with a renewed focus on obliterating the enemy hero's face. The deck is packed with fast damage options ranging from weapon buffs like Deadly Poison and Volpira Toxin Blade, to direct damage cards like Sinister Strike and Leopard Gnome. Top legend lists are also now featuring Yoink from Forged in the Barrens to generate additional resources, as the card is often 1 mana for 4 face damage or 1 mana to draw 2 cards. It might seem like a bad time to be a combo player with all this aggro flying around, but there are still excellent options for combo players even after the Stealer ban. Mizaki Mage is right at the top of that list, since its freestyle gameplay and over-the-top damage combo is still quite playable, especially looking forward as the meta develops to include more anti-aggro control decks and fewer Secret Mages. In particularly greedy pocket metas, including those you're likely to find after climbing into Legend, Mizaki Mage remains a solid pick for taking advantage of slower strategies. strategies. Wrapping up our Tier 2 spotlight, we have a newcomer deck that was made possible by Wailing Caverns and somehow isn't Warlock. Say hello to Galakrond Shaman, a new wild take on what was once one of the most powerful decks in Standard. New Galakrond Shaman emerged in the Stealer meta as one of the best performing wild decks to feature the new Shaman powerhouse Primal Dungeoneer. As it turns out, Primal Dungeoneer into Cage Match Custodian into Weapon is a solid combo in Wild 2, but the deck also features the Ice Fishing combo with Toxfin and Firemancer Flurgle that provides a full board clear against almost any threat, from hyper aggro swarms to full boards of giants. Galakrond Shaman was an up-and-comer in the Stealer meta, but how will it fare after the nerfs? It remains to be seen, but even if Galakrond Shaman falls off the map, we definitely haven't seen the last of Primal Dungeoneer, so Shaman is a class you'll want to keep on your radar. Overall, we're still seeing the impact of Stealer of Souls even after the card was banned, as the format recalibrates from the rise of aggro and Secret Mage during the Stealer meta. That being said, we don't expect it to take too long for the meta to shift back to its state from before the Wailing Caverns was released. Does that mean that we're doomed to another few months of Darkglare Warlock dominance? Could Shaman unironically be the hero we need in Wild? Check out the full report on our website for all of the details on recent trends, and as always, thanks for watching.